Wow, long time no speak.
I know. What's it been? Hang on. I think about 8 minutes.
Yeah, well, we've got to churn them out.
Okay. Midnight Club and Kingdom Hospital. The link between these, then, I guess. Oof, is it people who make horror stuff who are my favourites of everything?
Yep. It definitely wasn't. I typed in shows like the Midnight Club into Google. Because I'm not going to lie, that's the link for a lot of TV shows.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just trying to think of stuff that actually is. I mean, like, there's a medical bit, and there's the implication of life after death or something, I guess, like that.
Yeah, I get just like weirdy, spooky Stephen King-y stuff, but one of them's not Stephen King.
Yeah, Mike Flanagan basically is the new Stephen King, though. So
yeah, busy churning things out once a year.
Yeah,
almost. Yeah,
he actually is. Like, it was Midnight Mass 2021, Midnight Club 2022, and Fall of the House of Usher 2023.
Right. Well, then, yeah, I guess he is the new Stephen King, but he's making shows rather than books, which I mean maybe is more difficult.
I think they're both quite hard.
I don't know. I feel like I could write like the start of a really good story and then just go, but aliens.
Yeah, the start of a really good story for, I don't know, 800 pages or so, and then aliens. You really aren't letting that go, are you?
No, because genuinely, it's the most annoyed a book has ever made me.
Have you read the Bible?
But even that has a point. I suppose the Bible also kind of gets to the end and goes, God?
Aliens. How does... Right, this is a serious question, right? How does the Bible end?
With the last page? Probably a glossary?
Did they wake up and it was all a dream?
I don't know. Maybe the last page of the Bible is a page that gets ripped out of every Bible that just says, LOL, JK.
Book of Revelation is the final book of the New Testament. Oh, its title is derived from the first word of the Koine Greek text, apocalypsis.
Sounds like a happy ending.
Apocalypse. Basically, oh, hang on, here we go. Yeah, the Bible ends with the admission
all of the
that
X-Men fighting Apocalypse, I understand.
It ends with the admission that God isn't actually real and Jesus never lived. That's what happens at the end of the Bible.
Mad.
Oh well, never mind, eh?
It's what it is.
Which of these two do you want to start with?
I don't know. Should we start with the eldest and work our way forwards?
Okay then.
So Kingdom Hospital's older.
Or as I like to call it, and I very nearly told this joke on the podcast last episode, Stephen King's Dark Place.
Yeah. I spent a long time not knowing the difference between these two shows. I thought they were the same thing.
They basically are, if you believe Garth Marenghi.
Spooky thing in a hospital. I would almost argue that Garth Marenghi's Dark Place is based on Stephen King making this show.
I think Garth Marenghi was slightly before. Garth Marenghi's Dark Place came out. When did it come out? Well, the official website was archived on 16th of June 2004.
That's before this show came out.
Yeah. When does Dark Place take place? Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. Released in 2004.
Oh shit!
Which
Maybe
is the same year that Kingdom Hospital came out.
Yeah, maybe he saw on Twitter or something in 2004 before Twitter was a thing.
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
Yeah, maybe he heard about it happening. Maybe this got stuck in some sort of limbo and wasn't going to come out, and then Garth Marenghi did his Dark Place, and then this was like, they were like, oh shit, people would like this.
I think that's entirely what happened.
Yeah, so really we've got Garth Marenghi to thank for
Stephen King.
Yeah, which is weird because I hadn't discovered him yet. So.
It's a weird one, Kingdom Hospital, isn't it? It's just there's a really, really lovely narration right at the start with a guy who I want to narrate me going to sleep because he has such a lovely voice, but he makes the claim that the hospital was built on, is it unsettled ground, he calls it, or uneasy ground? Which, I mean, it sounds very much like Shirley Jackson in The Haunting of Hill House. I don't know why, but that line really put me in mind of that, of the opening of Haunting of Hill House, which it goes something like, silence lay steadily among the wood and stone of Hill House, and whatever walked there walked alone. And just that sort of, perhaps the hospital was built on uneasy ground or something like that. It just really, I don't know why, but it just really put me in mind of that.
Yeah, I know, it sort of felt like the start of every horror thing
Ever?
Yeah, where it's just like, hey, by the way, some messed up shit happened here because they built it on something that they shouldn't have.
I mean, I actually think that sort of stereotype, I think it really happens a lot less than everyone thinks it does.
But I think it's one of those like really staple tropes that you just assume is true of everything.
It's The Shining and Poltergeist. I think are probably the two biggest proponents of that. I don't actually think it happens half as much as we think it does in horror. It's just that because those two had a real lasting effect, as you know, from the genre of horror, that's almost a shorthand. In the same way that, like, Haunted Hotel, you think The Shining, in the same sort of thing.
It lets you sort of skip a step, where you just kind of go, aliens.
Okay, so we have Jack Coleman, who I know best from being Horn-Rimmed Glasses from Heroes. He's run over by a van and he's left on the side of the road, and a crow starts not circling him, but is clearly waiting for him to die so he can swoop down and peck out his eyes. He's been paralysed by this van driver, and then an anteater shows up with
the anteater
horrible
that
teeth
he
has painted
in front of the inn that he was running past just before he got hit by the van, which was sort of weird, but
yeah, very strange. That the whole him lying on the side of the road, unable to move, that feels like a very Stephen King thing. But as I'm saying,
Stephen King's car accident.
I think it was the 90s.
Because I'm wondering if that's if there's a parallel there, that he really hates van drivers.
Well, this is the thing about it being based on Lars von Trier's The Kingdom, is that actually I'm not sure how much of it actually comes from Stephen King, because like there's a parallel there for sure, and it really feels like a Stephen King scene. That bit when he's just there alone with
Stephen King got
thoughts,
hit by a van and was thrown 14 meters into a ditch,
which is almost identical.
It's almost identical to that. I would maybe argue that one scene at least is based entirely on Stephen King getting hit by a van.
Oh, there you go. A light blue van it was, apparently. The van was looping from one side of the road to the other, like in the show. And a witness told her passenger she hoped the guy in that van doesn't hit that guy walking. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is weirdly.
Stephen King bought the
similar,
van.
I thought there was a rumour. Oh, hang on, yeah. Sunshine reports to prevent it. Van was later crushed at a junkyard. Yeah, I had heard that. That's quite cool, isn't it? You buy the van that caused you a massive injury.
Yeah, and then get people to come and beat up. That's pretty cool.
I got to think is that the King's lawyer and two others, I mean, I'm gonna guess Stephen and Tabitha King, purchased the van for $1,500 reportedly to prevent it from appearing on eBay. The van was later crushed at a junkyard to King's disappointment as he had fantasized about smashing it. Yeah, okay, so mixed reports now. We really should need to hear from him, don't we, as to what actually happened.
Yeah.
I mean, Kingdom Hospital was a very strange show. It's like not an awful lot happens. Like they start operating on him, and there's a wound in his brain which grows 3 times the size. There you go. Yeah, it triples in size in a time frame that it absolutely shouldn't have done. And he starts seeing what we can assume to be ghosts, I guess.
Yeah, I would assume so. But yeah, it was kind of bizarre. It's weird because I know that it came out nearly 20 years ago, but it feels older.
Yeah,
it feels like,
apart from the CGI, which I actually thought was quite good.
Yeah, I think it's maybe the tone of it feels a bit older because everything feels a bit like, I guess, almost like Carry On Horror Hospital.
Yeah, or like sort of diet Twin Peaks in a hospital.
Yeah, it's not. There's nothing that mysterious because you sort of go like, well, yeah, he's been hit by a car in a spooky place and now he can see ghosts. That makes just the most sense. But I think the nice touch that I didn't really pick up on the first couple of times they said it, but it's set in Castle Rock.
Yeah, I definitely, my ears pricked up at that for sure.
I was just like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense because everything that Stephen King does is set in and around Maine.
Not everything. I mean, well, yeah, in Maine, but like it's Castle Rock and Derry, and there's another place that he frequently. Right, but what's that one? Well, you got the Dark Tower stuff, but
oh yeah, it's Derry, Castle Rock, and the other place. I can't remember what it is.
Nah. Oh well. What did you like? Did you like this?
I think genuinely, if it wasn't a Stephen King thing, I probably would have turned it off.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Like it was, there was a weird sort of, like I didn't hate it. It's just a bit too.
It was a bit
odd,
too
and
out there, I think, for me.
Yeah, I've got no idea where it's going, what it's trying to do, anything like that. It just felt like it was a bit too slow and not enough properly happened to make me think, well, I need to know how this story ends.
Well, I mean, I can tell you how the story ends. The hospital gets destroyed.
Are you talking about Garth Marenghi's Dark Place or
This? I'm pretty sure it's this.
Have you seen the whole thing?
No, I'm reading it off Wikipedia.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it sounds like just more of the same, pretty much all the way through. It's sort of not really like Monster of the Week, but I guess
Patient of the Week. Patient and Ghost of the Week.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it was, yeah, maybe just a bit too disjointed for me because I quite like a story.
You know what's weird is that the Danish original was released in 1994, and then it had a Series 2 in 1997, had a Series 3 in 2022.
What?
I know. Weird, isn't it?
I'm just looking at it, and it's pretty much the same cast.
Oh, really? They just got them all back? This is the thing, is maybe the original is actually a lot better. Here we go. In a departure from the plot of the original, the American series introduces a new protagonist, a comatose patient, Peter Rickman, inspired by King's own experience of being hit by a minivan and a talking giant anteater.
Yeah.
Horror novel Stephen King discovered the 5-hour theatrical edit of Riget, I don't know how you pronounce it, in a video store during the production of the 1997 TV miniseries adaptation of The Shining, finding it both funny and scary, promptly set out to obtain the rights to the series for an American adaptation. Oh, weird. But yeah, it's... I imagine if we went to here we go. So of the original, Von Trier has credited David Lynch's 1990 TV series Twin Peaks as an inspiration for the series. There you go. It does feel a bit Twin Peaksy, but just not with any of sort of the Lynchian bits. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
you're so right. It's Twin Peaks without the good bits.
Yeah, it's just, the bits of Twin Peaks that just baffle you and you don't understand why they're there.
It's all that bit.
Yeah.
Mind you, you have just described all of Twin Peaks.
Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't really get on with Twin Peaks either. But I think that's maybe just the mood I was in when I watched it, and I just wasn't in the mood for trying.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I won't watch the rest of it.
No, definitely not. I would much rather... I think you probably have more fun watching Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
So I think that's what I'll do.
Yeah, I think it's just Stephen King stuff, like books, aliens, TV stuff. It's all really very hit or miss. But that's because there's so much of it.
Yeah. Speaking of someone who rarely misses, Mike Flanagan.
Yes.
I say rarely. This might be one of the times he does miss a bit. Okay. The Midnight Club then.
Spooky stories.
So the Midnight Club is about a group of terminally ill teenagers who live in this... It's not quite an assisted living facility, is it? It's just a big house that, dying kids can live in.
Yeah, it's a see yourself out sort of deal.
Yeah. See yourself.
That's the thing. I found it weird when they called it transitioning. And I was just like, yeah, I know what you mean, but that's not what I think of.
but I know what you mean, but get a better word.
Yeah, because you don't go, oh no, they transitioned from living to dead. You go, oh no, they died.
So every night at midnight, the kids all meet up in front of a fireplace, and they each tell scary stories to varying qualities and sort of subgenres of horror, which is quite fun. And there is like an overarching mystery around the house that they're living in and bits and pieces. It also features like several Flanagan frequent flyers. Zach Gilford, who we last saw in Midnight Mass, and Samantha Sloyan, who we also saw in Midnight Mass, is in this. Raoul Coley shows up as a character in one of the stories.
So I see. So you're going to watch it until he turns up, and then that's it.
This is the thing. I thought I would. I actually started this when it came out last year, And I think we got to like episode 3 or 4, and I just haven't finished it.
Yeah, I can see that. It feels like it would be quite a good film.
A good film?
Yeah, like if you took the sort of first episode and then added on a resolution to the story and did it sort of in 2.5 hours, be pretty good. But I feel like it's just going to be quite long.
Yeah, I do feel like it's spread a bit thin. I really like pretty much all of the characters. Like I don't think the performances are an issue at all. I don't know what it is, but I just didn't find a reason to keep going back to it, which is a real shame with Mike Flanagan, because I mean, I'm a huge fan of his. He has got another show coming out later this year, which I'm really looking forward to. Although we haven't got a release date for that one.
Yeah,
it's.
I wonder if not the problem, but because it's sort of a bit like Grown Up at Alone in the Dark. That's sort of where it might like kids telling campfire stories, but they're also dying.
Oh, not Alone in the Dark. Isn't it called like Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah, that's the one.
Wasn't it that? Yeah, we did that a couple of years ago, didn't we?
Yeah, because it sort of gives me that kind of vibe with like a serious story in the background, and it sort of, I don't know, almost it feels like the story stuff takes away from the serious stuff. But yeah, I don't know, I didn't dislike it, but I wouldn't be I'm not chomping at the bit to go watch the rest of it.
Yeah, I don't know what it is that makes it run out of steam, but I did really feel like it's crazy because it's like Kingdom Hospital is a bunch of my favourite things all thrown in together, like not dying kids, but like
is it just too much for you? Is that what it is? It's just too much stuff to enjoy.
So I can't enjoy any of it. No,
I mean that's a proper thing. Like if there are things you enjoy separately, if you throw them all together, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to like it.
I believe they call that less than the sum of its parts.
Yeah, because I like
the phrase.
I like whiskey, gin, beer, wine. Like, but if you put them all together, I'm going to die. I think booze is the only real working out example of that.
I also think it's probably a bit more coherent than all those drinks just thrown in a glass together. Like,
yeah, no, like it's yeah. Yeah, I don't know what it was that made me I didn't even bounce off it. I enjoyed the first episode and was like, yeah, if you could wrap this up in 1-2 more episodes, I'm cool. Maybe it is just too, because I think knowing that I've watched part 1 of 10 and there's going to be 10 sort of more episodes like that,
yeah,
doesn't necessarily fill me with joy. Because the pacing was quite slow as well, I thought.
Yeah. But I think it also takes a little too long to get into the main drive, which is it's sold on this idea of, so these kids, they tell these stories, but then the deal that they all sign up to is that the first one of that group to die is then responsible for trying to make contact once they're dead with the rest of the group. But then, like, the interesting thing, and actually, like, one of the cool sort of mechanics, the plot devices of the story, if you like, is that none of them really know who started Midnight Club, because they were all pulled into the Midnight Club by someone who was there before them and has since died. So there's like this sort of chain that no one really knows the origin of where this tradition of meeting up at midnight to tell scary stories starts from. And that should be quite an interesting thing as they try and investigate and figure out what's going on. But it's just not. It's kind of like, I feel like if you were sort of a similar age to the group, like if you were a teenager, this is probably quite a good entry-level horror thing. And it's made by Mike Flanagan, so you're not really going too far wrong.
Yeah, I'm just going to, I was interested to see where it goes. So I skipped all the way to the last episode summary. There's a murder-suicide ritual at the end.
Oh, cool. Well, that sounds like fun. Well, it's just a shame it's taken that long to get to that point.
That's the thing, because
there
I
was
was
supposed to be more, though. It got cancelled after this series. There was supposed to be more seasons of it.
Yeah. It sounds like it's quite a well-contained thing. Flanagan revealed that he was profoundly inspired by Nickelodeon's horror anthology Are You Afraid of the Dark?
That he was what? Inspired by Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
We nailed that. I might try some more of this, although I'm not entirely convinced that I'll get much further through it.
Like, it's fine. Like, it's just fine. Like, bad Mike Flanagan is still better than 90% of everything else. So
yeah. Yeah, it is a shame. But it was...
On December the 1st, Netflix cancelled the series after one season. Following its cancellation, Flanagan revealed what was planned for later seasons on his Tumblr, including the ultimate fates of the various characters and answers to the show's lingering mysteries. I quite like that as a thing. Like, if it gets... I saw a tweet earlier today, because, 1899 has been cancelled after barely any time at all. And with the express understanding that that team had made one of the best TV shows ever with Dark, and it all tied up like really well. Apparently, because we haven't got any further than series 1 of Dark, it all ties together really nicely. I saw a tweet saying that Netflix should have a stipulation, like if they cancel your TV show, you should have the option of making a 90-minute movie that just explains what was gonna happen.
That would be pretty cool. The thing, I think 1899 came out at a really bad time. Because it came out with Wednesday,
Christmas.
didn't it?
Yeah, it came out the same week as Wednesday. It came out at Christmas when people aren't starting a big, for a lot of us, international dark drama.
Oh, yeah, like I wouldn't start something heavy when I'm about to get fat.
No.
Like
So it does make me wonder why I started watching TV from sort of 2011 onwards.
Yeah, no, it's a weird time. Like because they must have known after Dark that it was going to be big. Because Dark's not just big in Germany either; it's big everywhere. So people would obviously be interested to see what they did next.
Netflix is such a weird organisation in its decision making, and plus it doesn't help that. Well, I mean, they have absolutely no obligation to, but because they don't publish their viewing figures, we don't know what class. This is the other thing. So anecdotally, I've heard people say like, but 1899 was in the top 10 thing for ages over Christmas. So what did it? What sort of targets did it have to hit to?
I wonder if there's
to stay around.
If they would look at a certain market rather than necessarily just where it's sat in like every country's top 10. Maybe there's like one demographic that's just weighted more. Like maybe Germany. I'm just throwing out on a limb that maybe a German TV show has to do well in Germany and the rest of the world.
But you'd imagine that if Dark's been so well received by the rest of the world, that it probably does have quite a big following within its own country, no?
You'd imagine so, but then trying to think of a good example. Like, the rest of the world loves football way more than I do. But yeah, no, it's a weird one. They are. I suppose it's weird. Netflix has become a lot more brutal. I'm pretty sure they let worse things get season 2.
Definitely, that's definitely true.
But then, I mean, American companies and production companies have always been a bit more brutal than we'd expect.
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about this before, haven't we? Like the whole, you can get cancelled halfway through your season 1, and then that's it.
Yeah, we'll film 6, we'll air 3, and you're cancelled.
Yeah,
like it is brutal. And I don't think many British shows don't at least see out their first season. I'm probably wrong. They probably do exist, but I don't know of any.
Yeah, I mean, so do you think, you said you're gonna?
I'm gonna try it, but I'm not convinced that I'm gonna enjoy more of it.
Like, it's decent, like it's fine. I just, I don't know what it is. It just didn't go for it. Annoyingly.
Yeah, it happens. I think going into this, I was like, we're gonna debate and disagree until like one of us. Like when we first started the podcast, I was like, we're just gonna like disagree and like, but one of us will be right. And it took me a little while to just come to the conclusion that people can like different things. It'd be boring if we all like the same TV shows.
Yeah.
In the same way that it'd be boring if, like, Mike Flanagan just always made
Midnight
the same
Mass.
show that you like, just over and over again, but flavoured it differently. Because I don't think you can truly enjoy everything that someone has ever made.
Oh, okay. I'm going to have to do some serious thinking about that, because I bet there's someone... Yeah, not everything though, because I mean, well, for one,
I'm saying
aliens.
You have to like 100% of everything they've ever done.
That's an excellent question.
You can't even have something that you've kind of like gone, not sure about that.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do some serious thinking on that one, because I reckon I could probably find someone who I've gone, they haven't missed a single.
They
thing.
have to have made more than one thing.
Shit.
Because that would be cheating. If you just go, right, I've made one thing. Do you like it? Yes. Cool.
I've got it. I know exactly who it is. I've got one.
Okay. I genuinely don't think I have one.
You're my favourite author, J.K. Rowling.
But do you like everything that she's done? Everything that she's ever written?
I mean, not her tweets.
I was trying to catch you out there. But you saw it coming.
Yep.
You're a smart man.
So yeah, Kingdom Hospital, probably not. Midnight Club, I did give it a go, and it just didn't grab. Maybe I'll just watch Raoul's bit, because I love him.
And I suppose, speaking of things that we think are perfect,
now
next week
we've bumped a couple of bits, because last year there was a TV show that came out that was a surprise hit for everybody involved.
Everyone I have recommended that show, the show that we will get to naming, has loved it.
I've recommended it to 2 people who have said they don't get what the whole hype is about, and I'm convinced they watched it wrong. So
yeah, I will ask who they are, and then how quickly did you cut them out of your life?
Well, at this point, who needs parents anyway? My parents actually loved it, to be fair. So yeah, we're going to be doing, it's an unexpected UK-US special. And
thanks BBC.
Yeah,
cheers
for that.
Saved this year.
So obviously we're going to be talking about The Traitors, which was one of the highlights of TV last year.
Yeah.
So
An interesting fact, it will be the first reality game show thing
I think it is, yeah.
that we will have done on the podcast.
And there's a reason for that. So yeah, we'll be doing the traitors when you next hear us.
Yes.
But Rich, I can look you in the eye and say I'm 100% faithful.
You're not my 100.